Hey everybody, welcome to Open by Accident. I'm Matt, and today we're going to take a look at my Neo Geo MVS 4-slot arcade cabinet. Let's jump right in. Alright, so we got my Neo Geo 4-slot MVS arcade cabinets. This cabinet's been with me for about 13 years. I purchased it from a resale shop that used to be here in town. The owner of it helped me identify that this was actually the arcade cabinet I played in the 90s at my local arcade before it closed down. It is in original shape. I have not done any kind of restoration towards it. I've just been trying to maintain it, keep the functionality of it. Down here, you have the control panel where you have the power switch, reset button. There's a fuse as well as the counter on there. And then down below there, you have also the coin door. Inside here, you're able to reach in and actually unclip the control panel for easy access inside of the... Oh, looks like I didn't get one unclipped here. Unclip them. So that way you have easy access inside the actual cabinet itself. You can see the back side of the control panel. Again, it's all original, so I'm going to have to eventually start replacing some wires and that sort of thing, because I do have some issues occasionally with the controls. You can see I've got 4 games installed in there. And then inside the cabinet itself, got your power supply. Over here you have like your screen controls. And then you got the main board with the 4 games. It's in pretty solid shape for its age. This is probably the worst damage right here on the logo where it had gotten up against something. But something cool here is you can kind of see here, there's the original build date, 8/15 of 91. So this cabinet is working on like 33 years old, but it is functioning just fine for the most part. Some games I have more issues with than others. I do have quite a few games for the system, which I'll go through with you guys. But you can see the control panel here. You've got the counter there for how many credits you have. I do have it set to free play. It's 4 button controls, 2 player. And again, you can kind of see some wear and tear where this was well used and loved throughout the years. But overall, it's a pretty solid cabinet. Yeah, and then I know I showed this on camera, but here's a headphone jack and a memory card slot. I've never had a memory card to actually take a look to see if it actually works. Yeah, I figured we'd go through all the games I own for this, because over the years I've collected quite a few games for it. I have all dedicated games for it. No fakes, no 161-in-1 carts, just the real deal. So let's take a look at that. Throughout the years of collecting for the Neo Geo MVS, I've amassed a collection of over 30 games. Some of them are in custom-made shock boxes, some are just loose cartridges, but some are complete kits. Let's jump right in and take a look at my collection in depth. So early in my Neo Geo collecting days, I found the Neo Geo forum and was able to pick up a lot of loose cartridges there. A lot of them really cheap. I remember picking up some of these for as little as $10. So this first one is actually a Japanese version of World Heroes 2. It's just a loose cartridge, but it works great. And this was one of those cheaper games that I picked up from that forum. This next one is actually the English version of Burning Fight, which is actually a 2-player beat-em-up game, something a little different than the normal fighting games that you see on the Neo Geo. Really fun game. Next up, we got the English version of World Heroes. So again, a lot of these are like the cheaper run-of-the-mill games that you'd see everywhere. But at the time, I was just interested in amassing games for the cabinets. Got Magical Drop 2. And these, again, are just the loose cartridges. Once we get through these, we'll take a look at the real interesting stuff, the kits and the shock boxes. So we've got King of the Monsters. This is a like Godzilla type game. A lot of fun. I got another Japanese game, and you can see the SNK logo on the case. This is Fatal Fury 3, but it's, again, the Japanese version. The nice thing about the MVS is it's region-free, so it automatically like translates into English. Got King of Fighters 99. And you can see just how huge these cartridges are. Super Sidekicks 2. This is a soccer game. This is actually one of the games that gets a lot of gameplay in my Neo Geo. I love Super Sidekicks. The sports games on the Neo Geo are a lot of fun. Art of Fighting, that's a unique fighting game. Pretty good. The sprites are really big in that one. Now, I love the Fatal Fury series, and we got Fatal Fury 2 here. You notice that they've got, some of them have serial numbers on there. And we'll get into more on that when we start looking at the kits. We've got Baseball Stars Professional. So this is the precursor to probably the best baseball game on the system, which is Baseball Stars 2, but Baseball Stars Professional. We've got the Super Spy, which is a like first-person adventure type game. It's an interesting game. We've got the original Fatal Fury. We've got Samurai Showdown. Ninja Combat, another beat 'em up. And last, on the loose carts, we've got 3 Count Bout, which is a fighting game that's wrestling inspired. So you can see a lot of like SNK stickers on there to verify that these are legit, because it's pretty easy to fake these labels, but I feel pretty confident that my collection I amassed is all original equipment. All right, let's take a look at the kits. So this first one, I have a custom shock box as well as the kit box, and this is Neo Turf Masters. This is probably considered the best sports game on the system, definitely the best golf game. I absolutely love Neo Turf Masters. So here you've got the cartridge, and if you noticed, there's a serial number 008062. On the box, 008062. So they'd actually serialize the box to the cartridge to marry them up. Now you have these little art cards that you could put on top of the cabinet to display the games that you have available to play in the system. This one's a well-used Neo one, and I have like what appears to be a new old stock one for Neo Turf Masters. I've just never put it in there just because I didn't kind of want to ruin it. And then that one's getting kind of fragile with the crack on there. Now this kit, I believe, is complete. It's got the bubble mailer to wrap your cartridge in, and then it's got the instructions. So I don't think these instructions have ever been out of the baggie, but inside there it's got kind of a basic control layout input that you might be able to post somewhere. And then inside there it's got the operator instructions on a blue card. But that would be a full kit minus the shock box. The shock box is just something extra that I had found from who sold me this kit. But they custom made the artwork on the back side, the front side, and then the sides to make it for a nice display piece. And like I said, Neo Turf Masters, definitely probably one of the better golf games out there for the arcade, you know, with exception to like the rollerball games. Next up, we got another sports game. This is just a shock box. We've got League Bowling. This is another great one. This one's usually sought after for people for party games. And, I have the cartridge, the custom-made shock box, and then the art card for the controls. And literally, this is a one-button control game, so it's pretty easy to pick up and play in League Bowling. This is another really good game, again, for when you have friends over. Neo Turf Masters, League Bowling get a lot of play in my system. Next up, we've got 1945 Plus and a custom shock box. This one's a blue cartridge, and I own the cartridge as well as the topper. So now let's jump into just another full kit here. We've got Samurai Showdown 3. Let's take a look and see what's inside. This one I haven't played very much, but you can see it's wrapped in the bubble. There's our cartridge, and inside you'd have that same set of instructions as well as the topper as well. And again, I look at those instructions and it just doesn't appear that they've ever been out of the sleeve, so I'm not going to be the first one to do that. Just worry about actually like messing them up or something. Some kits actually come with extra pieces. This was actually on the system when I got it, but it was falling off. This is a decal that you could put on like the bottom of the screen, and it give you some basic controls for the games. And you can see it just covers a couple new players that are accessible in the game, and it gives you like some basic attacks and that sort of thing. All right, moving on, we've got Blues Journey in a custom shock box. Let's see what I've got for this one. Looks like I've got the cartridge. These shock boxes are getting a little fragile. I mean, they're working on probably 15 plus years old. And it looks like I have the art card for the topper and then the cartridge itself. All right. Looks like this one's just a blank shock box. So let's see what I got hiding in here. Oh, this one's kind of special. So this is Shock Troopers 2nd Squad. This was actually given to me by one of my really good friends from the Nintendo age days. So shout out to Jesse. That was a really nice gift from you, man. I've gotten some good times playing that game. It's a good, fun two-player shoot 'em up. This one is kind of a mainstay in the cabinet. This is Bust a Move. This actually came with the cabinet when I bought it. This is one that I remember coming with the cabinet. I bought the cabinet, I think, around 2011. You can see there's the cartridge. It came with 7 games. A few of them I remember which ones were in there. So you've got the art card, the instructions in there, and I actually do have an art card in there, so I had an extra art card to place in the cabinet. But Bust a Move is one of the games included. As far as what I paid for the cabinet, like I said, it came with 7 games. And they were good games. It was a good variety of games. This is another one that was included with it. World Heroes 2 Jet. This is another mainstay that stays in the cabinet. This is my favorite fighting game on the system. I love World Heroes 2 Jet. And I've got the art card in the system. And you can see here, this is one that actually has one of those stickers for the controls as well as the instructions as well. But I did a little bit of trading in cash to buy the cabinet in 2011. I think I gave $600 cash, as well as a Sega Nomad and an Atari 5200. Now, mind you, this was 2011, so pricing was a little different. And acquiring an arcade cabinet that you played on as a child was a little more important than just some Nomad that I had picked up at a thrift store or something for a few bucks. So the big part at the time was the $600. Viewpoint. This is one of the pricier games I have, and this was also one of the games in the cabinet when I bought it. This is a great shooter. It's like isometric view, and I have the art card for the topper as well for that. But yeah, I was pretty ecstatic to get the Neo Geo cabinet when I did, especially finding out that it came out of the arcade in the downtown district that I used to go to in the mid to late 90s. Here's another shooter. This is Aero Fighters 2. So I have the cartridge as well as the topper. And I acquired a lot of these games through trades, trading off like Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo games for Neo Geo games. Usually it took a few games for me to acquire a Neo Geo game. So we got another custom shock box. This is Metal Slug X. And I'd probably imagine I have, oh, look at here. We've got some instructions. So this has another one of those stickers that you could put on the cabinet, as well as the instruction sheet for how to play the game. And then we've got the cartridge itself. But no topper for that one. All right, this was another one that I seeked out in a trade just because it is the best baseball game on the system. You can see that shock box just kind of falling to pieces. My topper is actually in the system because it stays in here a lot. It's Baseball Stars 2. This is definitely the baseball game to get if you're going to go after one of the baseball games for the system. This game plays amazing. It's a great arcade baseball type game. Reminds me a lot of like Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball on the Super Nintendo. Looks like we got another kit, but this one's kind of unlabeled. So let's see what we got in here. Oh, we just got a little mismatch of things. We've got Samurai Showdown 2. So I showed you that sticker that I had for that. So this was probably one of the games that was included with the system. I've got the art card topper that has been well used, so it's more fragile. And then inside here, we've got something a little different. We've got the instructions for Street Slam, which is a basketball game. I do not own Street Slam, so that must have been kind of a throw-in when I was doing a lot of trading for Neo Geo stuff. way back when. These last two games that I have, these are definitely games that were included with the system. This is hands down my favorite game on the system. This is Thrash Rally. This is a top-down rally racer. There are other like top-down or more isometric view racers that I think are a little bit better, but this is the one I own. I do have the topper on it. It's just on the cabinet. And then you can see I've got the instruction card as well. But I absolutely love Thrash Rally. Again, this is one of those 7 games that came with the cabinet. What's kind of interesting is when I bought that cabinet, I didn't actually know there were 7 games in there. I thought there was just 4. And then when I opened up the cabinet, because he didn't have keys for the cabinet, I opened it up by taking off the back panel because it just unscrews. And sure enough, there were 3 more games hiding in the bottom of it. So we got Metal Slug. So this is the original Metal Slug. This was also included with the cabinet when I bought it. So you got the game. And then it looks like I've got an instruction sheet. And then I do have a topper for it. So those are all the games that I own for my Neo Geo MVS. At one time I did have a Neo Geo AES, but I found quickly that it was a lot cheaper to buy and collect for the MVS, just because they're more abundant and not as sought after. The other things that were in with the cabinets was you've got the monitor display manual that was in there. It's in pretty decent shape. I mean, it's got some schmutz on there here and there. It's falling apart a little bit, but that's a nice little piece to keep with the cabinet. I've got some artwork. I think this was thrown in when I bought some of the games. So we've got a game I don't recognize. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comments below. Sengoku 3. That's a beat 'em up game. And then we got Zoopapa, which I don't recall that game. But these were just like advertisements for the games. And then they kind of got some like rundown of what each game is like. Yeah, so it looks like this one's a fighting game. The game I don't know the name of. But that's kind of neat. And then I have one last item, which is a big poster. And I don't even remember what this is. Oh, nice. This is a King of Fighters 2002 poster. So again, I'm not sure where the paperwork came from in my collecting. I have a distinct feeling that when I was doing a trade with a couple of particular guys, that they just kind of threw that stuff in because I kind of cleaned them out of what Neo Geo stuff when they were kind of getting rid of their collection. And that would have been like the games that were in these custom shock boxes, because they were pretty adamant about making things real nice to display. So these games here all kind of came from that same person. And I do remember trading away, like, probably the biggest thing I traded away was my Double Dragon for Sega Genesis and my copy of the Punisher for Sega Genesis, which, funny, like 2 or 3 years after I did the trade, I reacquired my copy of Punisher for Sega Genesis, and then I've since sold it on. So I'm not sure exactly what I'll do with my Neo Geo long term, because it's got some sentimental value, just because it was the cabinet I played on as a kid. But I tend to say that I'm going to move on from it sometime in the near future, just because it takes up a lot of space and it just doesn't get played like it used to. So this is my Neo Geo collection for the MVS in a nutshell. Like I said, just a touch over 30 games, some complete kits, some custom-made shock boxes, and then a bunch of just loose cartridges that I've acquired over the years. So tell me what you guys think of my collection. If there's a suggestion of a game you think that I don't own that I should have, or if there is anything else that I missed that I should touch on with the Neo Geo MVS. Like I said, I've owned it for about 13 years, and I think at some point it's going to be time to kind of move on from this and find it a home where it's going to be well loved and enjoyed, because right now, unfortunately, it's collecting a lot of dust. So with that, guys, we'll leave you with this. I hope you enjoyed, and make sure you guys take the time to leave a comment and like the video and subscribe if you haven't already done so. So we appreciate everybody that has taken the time to check out the channel, and we will see you next time.